everyone, Professor Wills from Pasadena City College back with you to continue our discussion of Paleolithic cave art. All right, let's get back to that PowerPoint and we'll continue examining the caves at Lascaux in France, and then we'll look at another site in France before moving on to northern Spain. And what you're going to find is a lot of consistency. Despite the miles that separate them, you find this dominance of animals in Paleolithic art, especially bulls with that twisted perspective. But you also find this kind of piecemeal, additive approach to the Paleolithic cave galleries, not necessarily, a one vision or a single artist, but multiple generations of these nomadic peoples for mysterious reasons visiting these cave sites and using as their main subject of art these animals, deers, horses, but especially the iconic animal, the bull, that we'll be talking about a lot as a very popular subject in the ancient world. All right, let's get to that PowerPoint. Moving on to that, I'm going to minimize myself for instructional purposes here as I get my PowerPoint ready for you all. All right, where we left off, of course, last time is only just about 16,000 actually 18,000 years ago when I think about what year we are in right now, but we're looking at circa 16,000 to 14,000 BCE, right? Smack in the Stone Age, but more specifically in the oldest part of the Stone Age, the Paleolithic world. So at the caves at Lascaux, we examined, of course, the Hall of Bulls, which is the most famous cave gallery that you can find among the many painted murals that you find in these cave sites in southern Western Europe. All right, there's another example of a bull and horses, again inconsistent in scale, sometimes rendered in outline, sometimes in silhouette. There's that twisted perspective again to make the animal, again, the most recognizable description of the animal from side or profile view dominates in the ancient world, but what you find in the Paleolithic world is that twisted perspective where, again, both horns are twisted slightly forward so you can recognize that iconic animal. Instead of having, a pure side view, one horn would block the other, right? Okay, there's just a couple more detail shots for you of some of the deer with their incredible antlers. Amazingly old animal when you think about it, that we still have here in Los Angeles County. From time to time I see a deer in my neighborhood. There is a view of a horse from the side, again the most recognizable view of most animals. Another antlered animal detail shot right there for you. Okay. This is a section that's unusual of the caves at Lascaux, and it's nicknamed the Birdman. The Birdman. And what you find here is something reminiscent of maybe your first attempts at drawing the human figure when you were a little kid, but it very much looks like a stick figure. You have an elongated torso and legs and feet and arms. And the nickname, the Birdman, comes from this head with a beak. So it's like a bird head on a human figure. Again, there's no artist statement left behind. We don't know if this is supposed to represent some kind of a mask or a costume. Is it meant to be a fantastic kind of being, a hybrid of human and animal, like we'll see in many cultures' mythologies? There's also a bird mysteriously on some kind of a staff or elongated pole. The Birdman is definitely male, as you can see by the description of the male member. Why that was needed to be included is also mysterious. But what you find is there perhaps is a relationship between the man and the bull here. And of course, we can recognize the bull from its side view. And it's a very deep-chested animal, right? But also that twisted perspective presents both horns to us to confirm that. But what you also find right here is what historians believe is the animal that has been disemboweled, meaning it's been hunted, its abdomen cut open, and all of its bowels or intestines have spilled out. So graphic, right? But it's indicative of what these people, these ancient peoples might have done. They may have pursued animals like this as part of the hunt and pursuit of food. That is one idea that has to do with this particular very rare instance of a human-like being being included in Paleolithic art. All right, let's move on from the caves at Lascaux to Spain. I'm going to take myself away here so you can read the full attribution for this PowerPoint slide. All right, so this is another cave site, and its location is in Altamira, Spain, dating from about 13,000 to 11,000 BCE. And here too, you see a plethora of animals as subject of these Paleolithic cave paintings, especially bulls. Now they're rendered a little bit differently than we saw at Lascaux. If you can see here, they're kind of curled up as if, you know, they're taking a little nap. That's kind of what my dog looks like when he has a little afternoon snooze. Some of them are standing. And then to advance the slide here a little bit, you can get a view in conjunction with a sense of scale with humans standing below, looking up at these cave murals. So again, sometimes you see the animals rendered in that recognizable side or profile view with a twisted perspective of the horns. Sometimes they are shown kind of curled up. But do you see how they don't inhabit the laws of, the laws of gravity are not observed in the rendering of these bulls. Some are, seeming to stand as, in a position vertically like you and I would. Others seem to be almost floating like astronauts in zero gravity. So again, there's no unified composition. It's likely also additive in this cave site as well. Another remarkable cave site is located back in France, and this is the Peshan cave site, dating from 23,000 to 22,000 BCE. And what's remarkable about this cave site is not only the beautiful description of animals, in this case horses, with these incredible spots and dark heads. But there's something else going on here that's also the only other real evidence of the humans and the artisans of that time, and that is these negative handprints that you see here. What you can imagine these ancient artists doing is probably putting their hands and using them like a stencil. And then with some kind of a hollow reed, they could blow pigment, right? And leave that negative handprint on the wall. So to underscore, in the Paleolithic world, there isn't this obsession with the self, the depiction of humans as primary subject. Instead, you have other representations of humans that are very far and few between, whether the Birdman at Lascaux or these negative handprints, almost acting like some kind of artistic signature to this particular cave gallery of these spotted horses. I'm going to show you another example up close here, a little bit more of a detail shot. As you can see, it's almost like a Stone Age version of an airbrush. Some of you art majors might be familiar with airbrushes, or I imagine you could do this with spray paint as well. Here's one in kind of a deep red. Another example of these negative handprints. So that's it in terms of these cave galleries and the paintings in these cave sites in terms of the presence of humans in art. Otherwise, animals rule and humans may be there. They may be finding these cave destinations of some kind of important significance, whether it was lodging, whether there was religious significance. Nobody knows. It's incredibly mysterious. But what we do know is a consistency in how they represent the limited menu of topics they do represent through the dominance of animals and bulls, the twisted perspective, and then if there's any glimmer of a human element in it, it's in the form of mostly these negative handprints. All right, next time we're going to get into sculpture, Paleolithic sculpture. Believe it or not, dominated by female subjects, and we'll get into what that selective exaggeration is all about in our content page. So be sure to read up on that, and I'll see you in a few lessons as I get into Sumerian culture as well. Thanks for joining me.